key message I wish to deliver today is that poor management of diversity is leading to grave threats to international peace and security. Inequality within and between states is too often the result of exclusion on the basis of identity. That exclusion is often institutionalized in governance and economic relations at the national and the global level, and it manifests in stereotyping and bigotry. It leads to, amongst other things, a lack of employment or livelihood opportunities to billions of people purely based on their identities. Communities and countries being unable to benefit from their natural resource. It leads to climate injustice and an unfair trading system. The result is a profound sense of grievance and bitterness that populists and demagogues can easily exploit. This is so especially when such feelings and narratives are carried by social media and its spreading of misinformation, disinformation, and narratives that are often laced with incitement and extremist tendencies. It leads to trust in institutions deteriorating and state legitimacy weakening. It is fodder for terrorism, insurgencies, the rise of xenophobia, hate speech, divisive tribalism, as well as racism. An escalation of a social or political conflict finds the state much less able to prevent or mitigate the crisis. It is worth emphasizing that rather than serving to legitimize the state, in this environment of grievance based on identity, elections sometimes only further the divides. They become a zero-sum game in which the winner-take-all contests that appear to pit racial, ethnic, or religious identities against each other. Images of desperate men and women on sinking rafts trying to migrate in pursuit of economic opportunity have today become commonplace. They point to an international political and economic system that is inadequate for the challenges of today and definitely not adequate to meet our SDGs. The inability of their countries to offer them viable opportunities is often the result of a one-size-fits-all prescription and templates by powerful global institutions. These fail to take into account the diversity and different needs of states, as well as different contexts. They therefore perpetuate inequality and exclusion. Vaccine nationalism, travel bans and red listings further inflame the divisions between the rich and the poor states. These are the manifestations of the inability to deal with a diverse world. And in this regard, I want to offer a few recommendations that I consider essential in the management of diversity that supports state building and sustainable peace. First, in all states, whether democratic or not, we should place safety rails on political competition. This can be achieved by incentivizing a political culture that does not endanger national cohesion by exploiting identity to divide and create enmity between citizens. Second, we need to undertake thorough reviews of our international institutions to consider whether they are fit for purpose in building a more inclusive world and managing diversity better, particularly in times of crisis such as the COVID-19 pandemic. Third, we need to accelerate Security Council reform. The membership of the Council lacks transparency and inclusion. And fourth, COP26 in Glasgow next month will be an opportunity to ensure that climate change adaptation commitments are directed to accelerating development, investment, and job creation, particularly in the developing world. Climate adaptation must offer a clear and visible path to a green industrialization for Africa and indeed for the global South. Fifth, states should be offered every assistance to develop internal mechanisms for national dialogue and reconciliation. They should establish early warning systems to avert conflicts as well as human suffering. Sixth, the UN, regional organizations, as well as development partners should focus on state capacity building that delivers competence as opposed to the exclusive focus on good governance as a set of normative standards. Seventh, the United Nations and its peacebuilding initiatives should include diversity management as a component of peacebuilding and state stabilization. Eighth, we should initiate a collaborative approach between states, the UN system, and social media companies to combat hate speech and incitement. This can include an agreed global code of conduct by companies and the development of early warning tools to detect escalation trends and to facilitate preemptive measures. I look forward to the Security Council and the UN overall embracing some of these insights and recommendations that I have made today. I thank you all for your attention.